So one day in the spring of 2010, 3 organizations got together to compete. One in sports, one in a fantasy game, one in an intellectual exercise. But first of all, I think it's worth checking out the atmosphere, the environment. What is it like to compete intensely at something? So what I want to do first is introduce you to the sound of 1,500 kids in intense competition.
My name is Tom Brownstone. I'm from Kansas. I am a member of the United States Chess Federation Scholastic Council. We have the National High School Chess Championship going on. We also have the Kasparov Chess Foundation All-Girls Chess Championship going on. So there are actually 2 totally separate tournaments, and they're both going reasonably well.
And what's the number and the mix of kids that we're talking about here?
In the girls tournament, there are slightly over 200 players, ages 18 down to quite young. The high school championship is mostly high school age players, although certainly there are some K-12 schools, and you certainly do get some young players in the national high school as well. I don't know the exact number on the high school. The last time I checked, we had 1,200 and something kids playing in the national high school. So total between the girls tournament and the national high school, in the neighborhood of about 1,500 kids.
Okay. And I did notice some kids in there that obviously were not high school age. Pretty young kids.
The high school tournament is open to anyone in grade 12 and below.
Okay.
There are a lot of different schools in a lot of different parts of the country. There are certainly a number of K-12 schools represented.
I probably represent a lot of people who know chess is an individual, a game played between 2 people. How do you have a tournament? How does a tournament work? Do you have tiers and multiple eliminations as you move, like basketball kind of thing, or?
We have several different sections. The girls tournament has several sections by age. So the girls tournament has sections every 2 years. The National High School has several sections based on experience and achievement. The United States Chess Federation maintains a national chess rating system. We have an open section called the Championship section, which is open to anyone regardless of their experience and their achievements, and that's where the top players are playing. We also have 3 other sections that are limited based upon your rating.
And how do you get, what does that rating mean? What does that represent?
If you play in a United States Chess Federation sanctioned tournament, you get a United States Chess Federation rating. You get a certain number of points based on how many games you've won and the rating of the players that you played against. If you then do well in your later tournaments, you gain rating points. If you do poorly in your later tournaments, you lose rating points. So the more rating points you have, that's an indication that you've done better in tournaments. The top rated player in this particular tournament is Shinsaku Izugi of the state of Maryland. He has over 2,300 rating points. Some of the lower players in the lower sections may have as few as only 100 rating points.
Do you assign 2 opponents to play the first game and then they go from there, or how does that work?
Each of our different sections in this tournament is run according to the Swiss system. In the Swiss system, in the first round you divide the tournament in half based on rating. The players in the top half by rating play against players in the bottom half by rating. After that, you play people with your own score. So players who have won play other players who have won, players who have lost play other players who have lost. Every player plays all 7 rounds for the junior high or 6 rounds for the all-girls tournament. There is no elimination. You keep playing people with your own score group, and we hope by the end of the tournament there is no more than 1 player who's managed to win all of their games. And usually, because of the way the Swiss system works, because you keep playing people with your own score, it usually gets down to 1 champion.
The common way people would think about these kids is that they're geeks, they don't think about anything other than playing chess and all that sort of thing. We know that's not true, but can you characterize what the lives are like of the kids who are here, how their other activities?
We have all sorts of students here at this tournament. We have your A students. In fact, on Sunday morning we're going to have a special presentation for the Scholar Chess Player Awards. We have all types of players here. We have girls, we have boys, although we tend to have more boys than girls. Chess seems to be more popular with the boys than it is with the girls. We have players of just about all ages, since this is open to any player who has not yet reached 12th grade. So we have some very young players, although most of our players are teenagers. We have players from all across the country. Last time I checked, more than 40 different states were represented in this tournament. This is the National High School Chess Championship. We have a lot of different tournaments. There's a National Elementary Championship in a few weeks in Atlanta. Just last week there was a National Junior High Middle School Championship in Minnesota. In the winter, generally in late November or early December, is a tournament that is just for players in a particular grade. It's the National Grade Championship. We have one section per grade. In August there will be the Arnold Denker Tournament of High School Champions. That's an invitational tournament. There will be at most 50 players in that tournament, and you have to be your state high school champion to be eligible to participate. Later in the fall, in the nation of Turkey, there will be a World Youth Championship. That is effectively an invitational championship. Each nation is restricted in how many players they can send, and we will be sending a delegation.
Now, the event is here in Columbus. Is it here every year, or is this just part of the rotation? It'll come back some years from now? Or?
This event moves around. At this point, we're not scheduled to come back to Columbus. Sooner or later, I'm sure we will come back to Columbus. Okay. I like this facility very much. The Hyatt Regency here at the Convention Center is a very nice facility. The ballroom that we're using is a really nice ballroom. Especially there's a mezzanine around the top of the ballroom, which is really nice for the spectators. They can be up there and look down, possibly with their opera glasses or their binoculars, and watch the tournament from above, and that's a very nice situation. So.